To all those mothers out there, happy Mother's Day. It's a little early with this one. This is part one of our salute to mothers with Breaking In, a Gabrielle Union film. Welcome to the Dream Warrior Review. I'm Kurt Thomas.
I'm Mick Strawn.
This is episode 62. What to do. A woman. Oh, this is great.
Oh.
A woman fights to protect her family during a home invasion. That's the shortest, really description. That's great.
And that was exactly what happened.
Yes.
So
Gabrielle Union. And this is one lesson.
And you've told me that she is smart too.
Oh,
see, that's for me.
She's brilliant. Yeah, she turns me on because she's really brilliant. She's gorgeous.
Yeah,
and I think she can act.
You know, she can act. And one thing that I have to say is, in this, it is odd that we have no backstory on her at all.
Well, there's one lesson to this movie. If you've learned anything, there's only one thing from this movie you have to learn.
Don't mess with a mother.
Well, just don't piss off a woman, especially if they're a mother. I don't know. I'm looking at this and I can't believe it. So
a 5.3
out of 10. That's what it. Well,
really,
it's not really that many people have seen it yet. Obviously.
Oh yeah, 60 people. Okay.
So I don't know where to start with this because I actually really like this one.
I actually liked it quite a bit too. And the funny thing is, I don't think either one of us had any expectation whatsoever of it.
I actually didn't see a trailer. I didn't know anything about it. I think I might have seen the trailer once.
I think I've seen the trailer.
I saw it once.
We've seen the trailer.
They didn't really show much, so I wasn't expecting anything.
And the odd thing about it is the trailer looked exactly like the film.
Yeah.
I mean, it was but
they didn't ruin it by showing everything.
They did have a huge house to work in, and basically that's exactly where we're at through the whole thing. Don't we start in the car?
Yeah.
Right?
Driving through the woods
and
in Malibu.
And that actually surprised me.
And it was supposed to be in Wisconsin, I think.
Yeah, well, but there was a lot of rain recently this year, so Malibu looked pretty lush. And this wasn't the beach Malibu. This was the mountainside Malibu, and it big house.
There was one shot where when they were showing the car driving in, it looked like they actually put like a flat mat in the background to show a lake. I don't know if you noticed
that's
that.
right. Yeah, that's
but
right.
It looked very flat, and I don't know if I was hallucinating, but I was like, that doesn't look like Wisconsin, but it looked like they made it look like Wisconsin.
Well, as to whether you're hallucinating or not, you probably were hallucinating.
That's a different story.
But I don't know that has anything to do with it.
No, I actually going in to watch any Gabrielle Union thing, I go in completely sober so I don't miss anything, because I think she might be naked at some point. But she wasn't in this one.
That's all he wanted,
or
folks.
Was she?
That's all he...
I don't want to ruin it for anybody. She could have been.
Yeah, well, that's right.
But no, she was in the what was that show I was telling you about?
Yeah, that I don't remember a word of it.
Oh, yeah, she was in Bring It On. Anyway, Bad Boy. She has quite a resume, actually, already.
Oh, 10 Things I Hate About You. Okay.
But Being Mary Jane was the show I was talking about. And I saw one episode, and it was glorious. But I, for some reason, didn't watch any more episodes.
Yeah.
I don't know. But my wife watched the whole series.
Well, imagine that.
So if she was here, I would ask her about it. But, where do you want to start with this? Because
it's hard to.
The story.
The thing is it was
predictable.
It was predictable, and it was extremely straight ahead.
And I've seen this before. I've seen it like more than once. And home invasion.
Absolutely,
people trying to rob a house.
It is a. You know what? It had kind of a Blumhouse feel to it.
Right.
Very low budget and nothing. Nothing cinematic actually happens through the whole. But the tension works really well. The music worked really well. I mean, I sat there and I was tense for an hour and what? Something like that.
Hour and 28 minutes.
I was tense for an hour and 27 minutes.
Well, actually, I think a third of the way through, I was like, oh, this could either get really boring and predictable,
Right.
or I was actually surprised. And then there's a scene that I was really tense at, like toward the end. I was like,
well, part of the tension too was is they never did explain why she would be commando strength. Because pretty obviously she was.
She was.
And you wanted to think to yourself that she either had cop training or
well, she did notice. She did pause when she saw military tags, and it looked kind of like.
Yeah, that she was looking for the unit.
There was something there. She's looking for his unit.
Yeah, right.
No, but she was. Oh my God! It's like the guy. There was a guy that was chasing her through the woods, and Mark. I don't know how you pronounce his last name. Furzy. There's no way he'd be able to kick her ass. I mean, because she looked like she could kick anybody's ass in this movie.
No,
seriously.
Honestly, she really did. She did look like she could kick anybody's ass.
So it was believable.
Yeah, it was.
But you know the guy I'm talking about, the guy with the glasses.
Oh yeah,
there's no way he's gonna.
Really, when he came out, I was like, oh boy, so they're pitting him up against her.
Right.
She could have looked. You know what? She could have looked at him and went, mm-hmm, and that would have kicked his ass.
The only guy that was kind of creepy was the guy with the ears. I thought the Richard Cabral.
That was. Oh yeah, that's him.
That's Crazy Eyes.
Yeah, Crazy Eyes. Yeah.
He was just off his rocker a little bit, but he made a good.
Yeah. Yeah, the crazy Latin guy.
Yeah, the crazy eyes.
Yeah, crazy Latin guy. Crazy Latin guy was, he kind of kept it interesting. I thought that the weakest character had to be the blonde guy, Levi Meaden. He wasn't convincing as anything,
So the guy I liked the most, I think, was the guy that was playing the. main.
Billy Burke. Yeah,
he was perfect for the role.
Yeah, he was perfect for the role.
But he was kind of an inexpensive version of. Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Yeah, right.
Like I kind of kept thinking of Walking Dead for him, especially when he was kicking people on the ground. Anyway.
Sort of the Walgreens version.
Yes.
The Walgreens aspirin version.
Right.
Yeah. I think that little Tom Hanks cameo was amazing.
Tom Hanks. Now I'm trying to think
of he wasn't in that.
There was a Woody Woodpecker.
Yeah.
No, the story was good, even though it was actually wasn't really that predictable. I kept expecting something, and then it didn't happen.
Right.
So that was what made it good.
Yeah, in a way, you're absolutely right.
And the house was a character for sure.
Absolutely, and the kids were pretty amazing themselves. The older daughter, I thought that she made a really good team with the mother. I mean, they played off each other really well.
And her and the brother were good together. I thought that, the brother he had limited action or role.
It's good that the dad got hit when he did, because he had a very flat, kind of not there presence.
And the other thing is, like, really, do you think that guy can knock out the dad? I mean, that was the only thing I was kind of questioning. I'm like, really? It's like, do you think that really big football player looking guy would be knocked out by that little white guy?
Well, that's what I mean. He wasn't convincing. He wasn't convincing in the role.
Right.
He looked like he was really big, and then immediately he goes down, and he's married to an American badass.
I kept thinking of the Bruce Willis movie we did, the Charles Bronson remake.
Oh yeah.
Not Die Hard. It's like
this is gonna kill me.
Death Wish.
So
I was thinking of Death Wish, but I thought she did a better job kicking ass than
she
he
did. She did a better job than.
And then I think
Willis.
she did. Actually, I was like, every time I see her, I remember that she was a supermodel. So
right.
I'm always surprised when I see her go from like just a regular face to like angry or.
But seriously, all I wanted was a little bit of an explanation.
Yeah. So maybe there's a part 2.
Well,
a prequel.
Yeah, it's possible. Yeah,
there's a prequel.
Prequel to it? Yeah.
Breaking In. What would the name of the prequel be? Be like before we break in, or
going to break in. on the way to breaking in.
So I guess it's a really simple movie, so we don't really have much to say about it.
There was no
dialogue. That's what was great about it.
That is absolutely the problem with this one.
Yeah,
is that there isn't that much to say about it, because it's just trust us on this. Go see it.
Yeah, if you like suspense, and you like being on the edge of your
suspense
seat,
and
nervous.
it's edge of your seat.
There's like a couple times where I was like, where I kind of like, well, that probably wouldn't really happen, but
Yeah, well,
it's a movie.
That's always gonna be there. I think in a way I'd have to give it a 3.6.
And I did like there's no dialogue, and it was mostly just all action, just a few words here and there.
Yeah,
that's how it should be. So yeah, I kind of
$3.6 million.
See, I would give it a 3.8.
Really?
Probably just 2 extra points for the main role.
Yeah, well,
I'm kind of biased though. I like her, so.
Now, it did remind me though of something.
Of course it did. I was waiting.
Story time. Story time. It's story time with Mick. 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 Story time with Mick.
Anyway, so there is this thing about working on location that has a certain. I was mentioning to you in there that in me looking at it, every once in a while I just bring out problems that are associated with
right, yeah.
like the fact that you're hanging things, but it's like all beam ceiling, and so you have to be super careful about it, and just you have to be careful with the carpets. I can tell you that every place that you didn't see in that house had 2 layers of cardboard down absolutely everywhere, and that just keeping track of the cardboard is enough to drive you out of your mind. I mean, just out of your mind. And then you have to figure that everything's going to be professionally clean, but getting red dye number 2 blood out of stuff is a huge pain in the ass. But the worst thing that you can do is be shooting in a house like we were in Angeles Heights one time, shooting a film called The Fever. And the grips and the electricians didn't like each other.
Oh, boy.
And nobody liked the art department. Everybody pretty much hated each other pretty much across the board on this film. And so we were filming in a much smaller house than we really should have. You can always make a large house look small with a camera. And you could probably make a small house look big, but the problem is just getting the whole crew in there and making them live there for a week, can be really hard. But I think the litany of horrendous things that we did to a house, that this had to take the cake. The electricians didn't like the fact that we came in and said, don't drag, they just had this floor redone, don't drag your stands across it. So then it became a competition between the grip department and the electrical department as to who could make the largest gouge in the floor. The lighting was of a type where he used, the DP used 9 lights in the old days. 9 lights. Those are the flat pancake ones that have the high intensity bulbs in them.
Right. Yeah.
And he used 9 lights to light with, and he was way stoppering down the lens, and actually going one stop beyond correct so that it had this burnt in dark feel. If that sounds correct, I mean, there are things that you can play with that way, especially in those days. And so they shot for 2 days in a bedroom with 9 lights up against the walls, which when they pulled all the lights out of the room, the plaster just kind of fell and left the room with the lights and everybody else. It just came right off the walls. It just cooked. And let's see, they had a fire outside of a window, and there was actually an argument as to who was going to put it out.
Oh my God.
So, I mean, honestly, it's like, well, it's fucking burning. Well, that's not my department. So
It sounds like a Mel Brooks movie.
It was just horrible. I mean, just the amount of effort it required to. I think in the end, there's always this. Well, there's some point to where you turn over to a contractor and an insurance company, and I think that I know that we did redo the entire kitchen. There was supposed to have been a fight in there, and they just tore the kitchen apart. just in the fight, just tore. Nobody wanted to follow. I mean, Armand Asante and Sam Neill were, having a fight in there, and they were pulling doors off of things, and it was unbelievable.
So, dude, this movie we just saw.
Yeah, there was a lot of water around.
Breaking in.
Yeah.
So they would use sets I don't know if so have things changed? Like, do they use more locations back in the in the day that you worked, or do they use more sets? Is what my question is. I think this one we saw had like a lot of sets involved, I guess.
Well, not a whole lot of sets, but
you know what I'm saying.
But
I don't know.
The thing is you can almost tell when you got into a set.
Right. Well, this one I guess I couldn't really tell because I'm not really.
Well, the bedroom,
versed in that, I guess.
The bedroom was
the bedroom.
Set.
Okay.
Yeah, the bedroom was a set, and the thing that you may have noticed is that there was, for the most part, just the two kids in there as characters.
Yeah.
So that would have been maybe in a location where their office was, and they would have had a room in a little attached warehouse where they could put a couple of sets, and one of the sets easily could have been the garage.
Right. Yeah.
And could have been that bedroom. And the reason is with the couple of kids, you could not rent that enormous, very expensive house and kind of limit some of the damage to it by doing that bedroom, on a stage. And I think that if you notice that they did have carpenters in there, and they did. I can tell you that they built that bedroom.
Yeah. So I was thinking of like Critters,
sense.
like where you had a house, but you didn't really show the house that much. I guess not Critters. Strays.
Strays.
I have to talk about Strays. Isn't that great?
Boy, yeah. You fooled me there. I was like, what the hell are you talking about? You didn't use the house that much?
Well,
you shot there all the way.
Yeah, I don't know.
All the time.
It seems like there were a lot of things that you built though for that one.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. There was
I don't really know what my point is. I was just wondering
did you have a point?
I guess my point was like whether like if it's changed now or if they still do things pretty much the same way where they build.
Well, I'll tell you something. It has changed quite a bit. Shooting on location is much easier. You're dealing with low
technology's
voltage.
better.
The technology's better. You're dealing.
Lighting isn't as hot.
The lighting is LED.
Yeah, LED.
It's nowhere near as
heat.
hot.
Yeah,
there's no heat.
Hardly.
I mean, listen. Let me tell you something. When you used to roll up electrical at the end of the day, those guys worked like dogs. I mean, you're using cables that are like 1/0 and 2/0, which is like literally 3/4 of an inch around, and that's solid copper. 3/4 of an inch of solid copper. When you take a 50-foot roll of that and you pick it up, man, it can cripple you.
Well, I worked at a TV station back in the late 90s, and we had those heavy cables, and I used to have to follow a cameraman and he had like a 50-pound camera on his shoulder.
Right.
And then I remember the lights. If a bulb burned out and I had to switch it up, I had to wait for it to cool off. Otherwise, I burned the shit out of my fingers.
That's right.
And then you had to be careful with the halogen. You couldn't touch it. The
bulb.
Yeah.
And the halogen
LED,
bulbs you touch them, and they
LED
blow out
blows my mind now.
I know the LEDs are amazing. It's like you're running the biggest light that you have out there, and it's run off of a 1/4-inch cable.
Yeah.
Right. And you're like, what the hell is that? And
the cameras nowadays, it's ridiculous. I mean, I don't know.
Well, yeah, I mean, see, that's
I see your point though.
You see,
the location's a lot easier, except for that movie we watched, the Australian movie we did, where they were shooting in a house and they had horrible lighting.
Yeah, but
I don't even know what that movie was called. Red something or Blood something.
Red Christmas.
Red Christmas.
Right.
That's right.
It was terrible.
Yeah. But that was at all location, and there was horrible lighting.
But that was just a terrible film. I mean, that was
There you go.
It had no excuse for it.
Speaking of terrible films, and I just want to give props to Kurt Peterson. He was an excellent boom operator, in getting and breaking in.
And being as he had your name and everything.
Well,
right?
Kurt stood out to me, but then at the same time, I was also thinking, I guess in the back of my mind, I was thinking about Tyler Perry and his audio issues, and how Kurt Peterson really pulled it off in this one.
Yeah,
so,
that's true.
yeah.
By the way, let me clarify this thing about using the set, okay? When you were in the bedroom was small enough so that to get the crew into the bedroom would be uncomfortable to film in. So it is much easier to take that small,
wall open
room, so that you can eliminate a wall. We'll put her on a set. The rest of the spaces in that house were enormous, so there was very easy to film in those spaces.
The only weird shot when they were in the bedroom was when they're looking through the skylight.
It didn't.
Was kind of weird.
It didn't seem right. Kind of
almost seemed like they could have showed him from the side looking up at the skylight or something. I don't know. But I don't know.
I'm not 100% sure that you were actually looking down at them.
Probably not.
On the location.
Right.
Yeah, because would probably have been easier to do off of a platform. Certainly not easy to be up on somebody's roof, and roofs are huge liability problems and so forth. So, yeah.
Obviously, I mean, somebody got hurt in this one.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil anything.
That's kind of the point. It was kind of the point. But I thought it was also kind of interesting that a gun didn't come out forever in this one. That, people were getting killed by knives and stuff like that. And
maybe it's a whole anti-gun kind of thing going on, undercurrent maybe.
Could be.
I don't know. Things are weird.
Yeah, not exactly.
We live in a weird world right now.
Right.
I don't know. Who knows? We might be like watching movies in Korean pretty soon.
NKA, National Life Association.
Got it.
We get the point.
Yes.
See what I did there?
That was amazing.
That was pretty cool. Yeah. We get the point. Okay. Anyway, so I don't have that much more for this one because honestly, it's.
I feel like we were done before we started the story. Probably.
Yeah. You know what? Go. It is obviously a great film to catch on Netflix when it comes up.
Yeah. Well, actually, I don't know. I kind of enjoyed watching it in the theater just because I could feel the tension of other people. I don't know. When you're in a theater, sometimes you can feed off of that a little bit.
Well, yeah, especially when they wet their seats and that kind of stuff.
Oh, you did have something to say about wet.
About what?
Wetness on stairs and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, how much that drives you nuts? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and how much cleaning up is a problem. We used to we used to do things like, obviously I would make you a bet that they replaced a good part of the carpet, or they're the ones that put the carpet down. Like it was maybe it kind of looked like it would have been a tile floor of some sort, large slate.
They could just mop up.
Kind of floor. Yeah, something that they could, actually pull up. And the other thing is I would make you a bet that house echoed a lot more than it did, and it took a lot to sound kill it.
So that carpet would come into play.
Carpet would definitely come into play there.
So
because there was carpet there in places that it's not a modern thing to have carpet in those places.
Not nowadays.
Yeah. And it was in Malibu. I would make you a bet that they put a lot of that carpet in.
It was a pretty interesting house, though.
Yeah, it's funny, and especially if you've been there before several times, you go, well, that's they're kind of overcoming this problem and that problem, and yeah. So,
and I was just trying not to pee my pants. It was. Anyway.
Yeah, well, an oversized prostate definitely helps with that sort of thing. Can't pee at all.
I wouldn't know. See, I feel old now because you brought up all these things that I remember from when I was in television. I'm like, it wasn't that long ago.
See, yeah, and the other thing is like the chances that you get to film wide shots and high shots nowadays, and we've talked about that before. It's great. There's a guy I saw that came up on Facebook, came up with a crane that's going nuts, going down the street, a filming crane. It's like, and it's a game of where you're trying to get the shot with the crane, and it shows the shot. Only you're kind of trying to weave the back and the front of it in and around, and there's crowds and cars and people everywhere. And the thing that's funny is I've always talked about that, of how hard it was to deal with the cranes, because everything had to clear for the cranes, and like you had to be able to get the damn crane in. And now you don't have that problem. I mean, you had all the great shots that were coming off of that drone, but they were probably shot off of another drone.
Well, I gotta say, God bless James McTeague, or however you pronounce his name, because I was expecting a shot from the drone, and
he didn't.
They didn't do it.
Right.
I was so happy.
Yeah.
They just showed the drone go by. And
Right.
they showed the monitor.
Yeah, but you could kind of tell why they didn't do that. Is they kept trying to draw you back to the bank of monitors.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
All
It
right.
was.
I'd say go see it.
I'd say go see it too.
Yep. Thank you for listening to the Dream Warrior Review. As always, you can reach us at Gmail at dreamwarriorreview@gmail.com, or you can find us on Twitter at DWR Review, and of course, we're on Facebook. Until next time.